This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Russian supplies of liquefied natural gas, LNG, to France increased by 41% in annual terms in the first 9 months of 2023. Russia's RIA state news agency reported on Sunday, citing a Russian foreign ministry official. In January to September of 2023, French purchases from Russia exceeded the same period of 2022 by 41%, RIA reported, citing Artem Studenyakov, head of the European department at the Russian Foreign Ministry. Studenyakov said the main French receiving point for Russian LNG was the terminal in Montoire de Bretagne, which received 1.68 billion cubic meters, BCM, in 2022, and 0.89 billion cubic meters of LNG in the first half of 2023.
Oil prices fell in early Asian trade on Monday after Israel said it had concluded a series of strikes in southern Gaza, slightly easing concerns about supply from the Middle East. Brent crude futures were down 43 cents, or 0.5%, at $81.76 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were 46 cents, or 0.6% lower, at $76.38 a barrel at 0135 GMT. Geopolitical risks, including a feared broadening of the Israel-Palestinian conflict across the region and potential oil supply disruption in the Middle East, pushed prices up by about 6% last week.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
China's massive rollout of energy is renewably accelerating, its investments in the sector growing so large that international climate watchdogs now expect the country's greenhouse gas emissions to peak years earlier than anticipated, possibly as soon as this year. China installed 217 gigawatts worth of solar power last year alone, a 55% increase, according to new government data. That is more than 500 million solar panels and well above the total installed solar capacity of the US. They appeared everywhere from the deserts of Inner Mongolia to the mountains of southwest China to rooftops across the country, including on the Great Hall of the People on the edge of Tiananmen Square.
Brazil's gas imports fell to their lowest level for 2 decades in 2023 as its brimming hydroelectric reservoirs and rapid wind and solar deployment hit thermal power demand. Imports were the lowest since 2003. National Agency for Petroleum, Natural Gas and Biofuels data shows, at 6.5 billion cubic meters, 228 billion cubic feet, in 2023, from 9 billion cubic meters in 2022 and 16.9 billion cubic meters in 2021. Volumes have been trending steadily lower since 2015, apart from a brief surge in 2021 when Brazil turned to gas-fired power to make up for the loss of hydroelectric due to severe drought. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Gold prices were flat on Monday in holiday-thin trading, as investors awaited remarks from a slew of U.S. Federal Reserve officials in a data-packed week. Spot gold held its ground at $2,023.03 per ounce, oscillating in a $5 range, as of 0523 GMT. U.S. gold futures were also steady at $2,037.10 per ounce. Gold is remarkably resilient, given we've seen almost 60 basis points of cuts, for 2024, come out of the market since the January high, said Kyle Rada, a financial market analyst at Capital.com.
Copper prices dropped slightly on Monday on reduced demand from China, the top consumer, which was closed for the Lunar New Year holiday, dampening trade. 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange was down 0.04% at $8,166 per metric ton at 0405 GMT. The prolonged crisis in China's property sector has weighed on sentiment, since construction, a major consumer of base metals, has been impacted.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Ukraine expects its 2024 spring sowing area to be the same as last year, though it could see a slight decrease in the worst-case scenario, Agriculture Minister Mykola Solsky told Reuters on Friday. Ukraine is a major global grain and oilseeds producer, but its harvests have decreased since Russia invaded and occupied significant swathes of territory. The war, now in its 24th month and with no end in sight, has driven up global grain prices and disrupted supplies, especially to poorer countries. I don't expect any drastic changes in terms of sowing area. If the sowing area is smaller, it will be a very insignificant decrease, Solsky said in an interview, providing the first official outlook for the 2024 sowing season.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.